Picture this, you're in a meeting, a big important initiative is being discussed, and something isn't quite clicking. The problem space feels messy. There are competing priorities, conflicting data points, and no clear path forward. Some people in the room are pushing for immediate action. We need to make a decision, or what quick wins can we get here? Others are stuck in analysis paralysis, overwhelmed by the uncertainty. And then there's you. If you've built a tolerance for ambiguity, you're not rushing to a conclusion. You're sitting with the uncertainty, letting the complexity unfold, and knowing that the real work isn't jumping into an answer, it's defining the right question. In high-stakes problem solving, whether in design, engineering, strategy, or leadership, one of the most valuable yet underrated skills is ambiguity tolerance. It's the ability to operate effectively in situations where clarity is lacking, where the problem itself hasn't been fully defined, and where the right answer isn't immediately obvious, or one may not even exist. For many people, ambiguity is deeply uncomfortable. The instinct is to resolve it as quickly as possible, to impose structure, define the problem, and move towards a solution. But in reality, the most meaningful challenges don't come neatly packaged with predefined answers. Instead, they require understanding before solving, patience before action, and the ability to navigate uncertainty without losing momentum. Early in your career, success often comes from being an efficient problem solver. A problem is handed to you, you assess it, and you find a solution. You execute that solution. Simple, straightforward, clear. But as you become more senior, the nature of the work changes. You're no longer just solving problems. You're figuring out what the real problem is in the first place. And often that process is far from straightforward. Ambiguous problem spaces come with unique challenges. Number one, you don't know what you don't know. There's no clear starting point, and you may not even know the right questions to ask yet. Two, the problem may not even be a single problem. What initially appears as one issue is often a web of interconnected systems and root causes. Three, there is no correct answer. Some spaces don't have a singular right answer, just trade-offs, competing perspectives, and multiple paths forward. So instead of immediately solving, your role shifts to discovery and framing. What's actually going on here? What signals matter and what's just noise? What's the system at play? Where are the leverage points that could create meaningful change? This is where ambiguity tolerance becomes a differentiator. The people who thrive in these spaces aren't the ones who rush to premature conclusions. They're the ones who can sit with the discomfort of uncertainty long enough to extract meaning from it. The ability to navigate ambiguity is becoming even more critical as AI takes over structured, rule-based problem solving. AI thrives in environments with known knowns, where parameters are clear, rules are defined, and optimization is possible. But ambiguity is a different beast. It exists in known unknowns, where you know what you don't know, and more importantly, unknown unknowns, where you don't even know what questions to ask yet. AI struggles in these spaces because there is no predefined data set, no clear logic to follow, and no single optimal answer. This is why senior level work increasingly revolves around problem framing rather than just problem solving. If a problem were well defined and easily solvable, it would already be solved or even automated. The highest value contributions today aren't about efficiency. They're about clarity, insight, and meaning making. If your instinct is to resolve ambiguity quickly, you're not alone. Humans are wired to seek patterns, structure, and closure. But in complex domains, learning to sit with uncertainty is an essential skill. Here's how to develop it. First, shift from answer first to question first thinking. Rather than jumping to solutions, start by exploring the space. What are the key forces at play? Who are the stakeholders and what are their perspectives? What's already known and what's missing? What assumptions are shaping the current understanding? Framing the right question is often more valuable than finding a fast answer. Use systems thinking to identify patterns and connections. Ambiguous problems are rarely isolated. They're part of broader, interconnected systems. Developing systems thinking helps you to see how different factors influence each other and where the leverage points are. Get comfortable with iterative understanding. Ambiguous problems rarely unfold all at once. The more you explore, the more clarity emerges, but that clarity comes in layers. The key is to stay open to new information without clinging to premature conclusions. Communicate clearly, even when things aren't clear yet. Just because a problem is ambiguous doesn't mean you can't communicate effectively about it. Part of ambiguity tolerance is learning to say, here's what we know so far. Here's what's unclear and why it matters. Here's the next step in making sense of this. Good communication doesn't mean having all the answers. It means helping others navigate uncertainty with you. Let's talk about ambiguity as a competitive advantage. The ability to work in ambiguous spaces is what separates high-impact problem solvers from those who only thrive in structured environments. It's also what makes someone indispensable in leadership roles, complex problem spaces, and domains where AI cannot yet operate effectively. While others look for pre-existing playbooks, ambiguity-tolerant thinkers are the ones writing the playbooks. Instead of resisting uncertainty, lean into it. The most meaningful, impactful work happens at the edge of the unknown. Here's a closing thought. If you find ambiguity frustrating, that's okay. It's a natural response. But instead of seeing it as a roadblock, try reframing it as an opportunity. Uncertainty means there's room for insight. Complexity means there's potential for discovery. And the more you train yourself to thrive in ambiguous spaces, the more valuable you become. Not just to your team or your company, but to yourself as a thinker, a leader, and a problem framer in a world that desperately needs them. If you found this video useful, please like and subscribe, and if you can share it with any of your colleagues who will find it interesting too, that'd really help the channel out. See you in the next video.